Alright everybody, this is Peter from the Bozeman Angler. I'm going to show you a fairly quick and easy way to make a really awesome looking little streamer. We'll call it the Laser Dub Minnow. So I'll just start my thread where, right behind that eye and bring them back down the shank here. I'm tying this on a really ridiculously big hook. I think for most trout purposes you could do a lot smaller, but that's always kind of fun to tie really big flies, and who knows, maybe you'll go after a really big fish. But so this is a 810 3/0 bass hook, but I like it because it's got that nice big gap. So we'll do a two-tone on this guy, and I'm tying with MFC streamer thread, if you can see that, or any big heavy stuff. That way we can crank down our materials. Let's throw some Wapsi Marabou in white on the bottom. And I am not too incredibly concerned with the quality of it. I just want a small chunk of it. I kind of like to wet it down with my fingers to kind of make it more manageable. So I'll tie this on the bottom first. Secure it with 2 wraps, 3 wraps. Just to get that out of the way, trim that. And then since we want this guy two-toned, let's put a chunk of blue up on top. I've been on a real blue streamer kick, and then I kind of hold it over to make sure it's the same length as my bottom one, so I have a tail lined up with it there. 1, 2, 3 heavy-duty wraps for that guy, locked in. And then to start building my body, I'll basically just go back and forth between using some laser dub in this awesome blue color. And this stuff's pretty long, so you can grab a little piece and kind of fold it back and forth together and sneak it in, tie it in just in the middle. So I'll usually just 1 wrap or so, and I'll do like 1 or 2 wraps of this stuff on top, and then 1 or 2 on the bottom. So, and you see I'm starting off with that first one really pretty small, and then I'll get progressively bigger with the other ones as I move forward. Since I've seen minnows with a white belly, let's go ahead and put white on the bottom here. And lick my fingers a lot to get this dubbing manageable. Again, that first chunk of dubbing's going to be pretty tiny. The second one's going to be a little bit bigger. But you really don't have to be too particular with it at all. And then once I get everything tied in there, start smoothing it back. And just basically work my way down the hook, or the shank of the hook. I do this little, sometimes I stroke it out and get the loose fibers out if you want it to look really clean, so you're left with, just a straight, basically, piece of fuzz. So ideally every chunk that you put in is going to get just a little bit bigger than the last one, so you start to build up that little profile on it. Let's get that guy out of the way. There we go. Sneak him in there, get a couple of wraps. And you could totally do this without a rotary vise. You just have to take your fly out and turn it upside down, or learn to tie in your dubbing from beneath, but sounds like a lot of work to me. But you could definitely get her done. The streamer thread's so heavy you can usually just do one wrap and then continue on with it. And then flip it back over and keep progressing down. Probably snake one more and then I'll do a couple on top. But to make it, let's throw a little hot spot in this guy before I forget, just to make it look kind of cool. So let's grab a tiny little chunk of red ice dub and let's put just a little piece of red in there for a gill plate or something. Let's take that guy back. And just a smaller piece of that red, give it one nice little flash. Nice and patriotic. And then we just want a stout little clump of that white to cover it up. Put one last piece of blue on top to form the top of our little minnow's head. Hold that around. It should be fairly big, but now from this point you can kind of just comb it out, pull out any of that excess, and you'll have some extra dubbing there. And then I just like to kind of build up a nice little head. Let's see. Seal this guy all in. Let's use some UV clear fly finish. And just coat all the way around, just on the thread. Just want to seal that guy in. Hit it with that light. And I usually cover up that with a few more thread wraps. Throw in one half hitch, maybe a nice little whip finish at the end. Get rid of my thread at this point, and really if you want, you could leave this guy finished at this point. Try to get that. But to make it a little bit more buggy, let's go ahead and put eyes on him. So these Jurassic eyes are kind of fun from MFC. Take those out, have those ready, and then like a little bit of this tear mender to adhere my eyes. A little goes a long way, so let's just put a tiny little drop on there and kind of let that dubbing soak up that. And then get that eye the way that you like it. And just glue him on. Do the same thing on the other side here. careful before. This Terramender takes a few minutes to set, but once it does, they'll stay on pretty good. However, sometimes I still like throwing a nice little coat of UV finish on it just to give it a little bit more. You know, this thin stuff you can just kind of do a guy right around it, set that, and then add a bit more. Just to really kind of, you know, one, give you a little profile, and two, keep your eyes from falling off. But I'm sure it would work just fine without the eyes, fishing wise, but to me, I think it looks a lot cooler with an actual fish eye on it. Do the same thing on this side. Totally coat that eye and it'll be nice and smooth. And once this guy hits the water, all this dubbing is going to slick back into just a really nice little slim profile, but something that's super light, doesn't hold a whole lot of water. You could throw this guy in a 6-weight. If you wanted, you could add, you know, more weight to it or a trailing hook, make 2 or 3 of them together. But yeah, it's a fun little easy way to do a Laser Dub Minnow. Thanks, guys.